This video's performance element is about writing internal and external business correspondence to convey and obtain information effectively. And let's start by explaining the nature of effective written communications. So, a quote from Janice Fisher Chan: "The words we write are very real representations of our companies and ourselves." So, written communications are extremely important in the business setting because they reflect directly on the company and the person that writes them. So, in order to have effective written communications, the communication needs to answer questions, be relevant, pertain to whatever topic it's about, focus on the end user and really how it satisfies their needs or how it explains something to them. It needs to be specific so that it fully covers something. It could include examples to be more thorough and explain something a little bit better, and it needs to be tactful and accurate so that, it focuses on the issue at hand. Select and utilize appropriate formats for professional writing. So professional writing usually involves writing business letters. So when writing business letters, the format that you want to follow is starting with your heading, then the date, then the inside address, which would be your own address, then the salutation, then the body, then the complimentary close, then the signature, and then the type name. So that's basically the format that you want to use in your professional writing of business letters. Edit and revise written work consistent with professional standards. So a rule of thumb for most professional standards is to revise and review work at least 3 times before publishing or making a final copy of it. And when editing content, the most important thing to keep in mind and focus on is whether the information being written has stuck to the point and stayed concise. So this basically means that when editing, you should try to remove unnecessary clutter and make sure everything is really focused and relevant on whatever the main idea is. And another thing to check for in your writing is style and readability. So in terms of style, tone and word choice are really important. Tone is, the type of emotions that you set and how, your speaker is conveying something emotionally. And word choice can involve using the proper type of jargon depending on what the target audience is and who's reading your written work. You'd obviously use business jargon and more formal and complex word choice when writing a business report for business employees to read. And readability can be measured using the FOG index. So the FOG index is basically the number of years of schooling required to read a passage, and it's calculated by adding the average number of words per sentence in a passage with the percentage of long words in the passage. So long words are basically any words with 3 or more syllables, and basically you add those two numbers together and multiply it by 0.4, and that gives you what's called the FOG index. And the FOG index is, again, the number of years schooling required. So if you get a FOG index of 17, you need 17 years of schooling to read the passage, and that's basically a measure of readability. And then you'll want to be able to adjust the FOG index according to who the audience is who will be reading it. If they're a more professional audience with more schooling, you can use a higher FOG index. And the last point is to avoid offensive phrases. This is kind of common sense. You just want to make sure that you don't say anything overly offensive or overly, not really nice to maybe a certain group of people or a person. Write professional emails. Most professional emails are 5 sentences long, and they consist of a greeting. So, addressing the person, saying good morning, good afternoon, or maybe saying, dear Mr. this. And then you start with a compliment or pleasantry, like, I hope you're doing well, or I hope you're having a good day. Then you talk about the reason for your email. So get right into the main point. Then a call to action, maybe what you need from them. Then a closing message, like, I hope you have a nice day, or I hope to hear back from you soon. And then your signature. Most email accounts, you can create a custom signature that basically is attached to the end of every email, and that's just what that is. Write business letters. So business letters, again, have to do with what I said in a few slides ago about professional writing. So you want to have the heading, which is your own address. You want to have the date. You want to have the inside address, which is of the company. You want to have salutation, a body, a complimentary closing, a signature, and then your type name. And 3 more things to add on are to try to avoid fancy words depending on who you're writing to. If your target audience does not understand business jargon, then fancy words are not going to be good for them. And then be polite, because in most business letters you want to be formal, but you also want to be polite, so that they will feel they won't feel offended by what you're writing if you're polite. And of course, proofread everything you write, and business letters especially, so that your message is sent properly, so that you can check for errors and other things of that nature. Right, informational messages. So informational messages are all about brevity, and basically they're types of messages that you would send to another person or another department and group of people to inform them about something. This could be informing them about a change or some sort of product, some sort of information detail about something. So have brevity, and the three things that you really need to cover are the main point. So just really start off with the main point of your informational message, what you're talking about. Start off with continue with any details, so some more specifics about the message, and then just close it.